Armada, you and I are in control of the destiny of this show. With the layoff here, a delay there, the lighting issues. The creators have come out and want support on one of Nickelodeon's most creative and new IPs in a long while. Even if you're new to Glitch Techs as a whole, you can save Glitch Techs. A huge thanks to everyone who shared the original Glitch Techs video around. At first, the video wasn't doing all that great, but because of your guys' support, the video went on to outperform my usual performance for videos of that nature. And it proves that sharing content is still a very powerful thing to do. Thank you guys so much. And to anyone who wants to join the Armada, Reddit, Twitter, Instagram, Amino, join now by going to alphaj.show/panda. We left season 1 with a team of glitch fighting gamers who saved their city in an undercover organization. So how do we start this season? Pretty much the same thing. I love the tension raised within these first few scenes with the way that everything shakes. They show it to what I assume to be the blood of those who put ketchup directly on their fries instead of beside them. Or tomato sauce, either or, because it's easier to show that sort of pressure and fear and tension building up with liquids.
Just bringing backup!
Five! Did you just call me Meeks? Because I love that!
We see that Five and Miko's relationship have developed over the season, with the implied time passing between this episode and where we left off in season 1. If you don't know, within the first few episodes of season 1, things are pretty shaky between them as they were getting to know each other, as well as figure out their personal lives. In fact, we also see a development from the actually not antagonist sort of egotistical glitch tech Mitch, who told Miko to follow his orders, as he is the lead person there. Boy oh boy does he learn the hard way though.
Miko, can you see a target?
Ooh! Hello, weak spot!
Miko, wait for orders!
Me for the KO! Wait for it!
Yeah, so you're not stopping Miko. Now, I was hoping to get around to this if I was to cover more episodes of Glitch Techs, which I'd love to, but of the one problem that I have with Glitch Techs, it's a very short list of problems. I feel like I should say here, it's very Miko heavy. Now, that may be unpopular because she's the wacky, bubbly, ADHD, crazy-haired one and obviously draws more attention to herself than Fives. So many people are just gonna gravitate towards her energy in a show like this, but when you actually look at the amount of Five-centric episodes in season 1, you don't know much about him, and you may want to know more about him, but you know a lot about Miko. One of the biggest questions in season 2 was about the fact that her memory couldn't get wiped, but we'll get into that. Besides that small issue in the grand scheme of things, I love seeing the inclusion of other minor characters, and I hope to see more as I binge. I also love the action-first approach, as I think it helps cement what the show can do, even though it would go on to do so much more.
What's your deal, Miko? You're supposed to be support class!
I was being supportive by taking down that mob like it was corn on the cob.
You know, I always see people in the team-based game like Counter-Strike or Arsenal go out and try to be the lone wolf, taking down everyone, and if you have the skill, then by all means, but there's a lot of times where I'm Mitch because people don't have that skill. However, there are also times when I'm Miko, usually when my team's primary skill is disappointing their families with how bad they are at the game. However, this level of comfort she has being herself is going to cause a rift between Mitch's way of running things and Miko's need to express things in only the way that she can. But before we can dive too deeply into that, yes, the whole wiping out thing. I'm so glad I didn't miss something important within that episode that explained why Miko's memory couldn't be wiped, because I really felt on a molecular level that I could have just missed it. I'm not one of those reviewers who try to throw everything they couldn't see in the pile of, the writers should have made it more clear. I have two eyes, panda eyes. They're very different. And I genuinely thought it was somewhere in there. Anyway, as Mitch wipes the onlookers, the team panics, but they can see that Miko cannot reset.
You don't reset? That's crazy weird.
Well, it's not weird. It's cool, right?
No, it is weird.
Guys, come on. I'm not weird. Am I?
Everybody resets.
Says so in the tech manual.
The episode plays into the Miko against the world pocket, even including Five kind of selling her out by saying that she is weird. And yes, Miko is weird. No, Miko isn't abnormal. To me, when you say weird, it's like when people use words like different and unique. And both different and unique as words can be used for the same thing, but unique oftentimes is more of a special case when used. And weird can mean that you have a refined taste, whether it be subjectively good or bad, but weird can also have that connotation of someone to ostracize. So while some may wear the word, some may not respond to it positively. And speaking of positive, I love the background art here. I like how they incorporate the halftones over select parts of the environment and don't hesitate to borrow from tangential media such as comic books. Even the action scene in the beginning, that was shown by panels.
Ready to bust some baddies? Fight some foes? De-res some,
Yep.
Hey, Meeks. About earlier, I just wanted to say...
Glitch signature detected.
Oh, hey, look, there's a glitch signal. Guess we have to stop talking and get to work.
Even though Five is in the front seat, he's going to take the back seat for this episode, so don't get used to hearing his name a lot. An annoyed Miko and Fives get right back into crime fighting, a great control of pacing after giving us such a dialogue-heavy sequence. The monster of the week is actually one that they've faced before. If you recall from the first episode, and the episode that I spoke about, there was an enemy towards the end called the Chomp Kitty. While it looks like the same enemy, there are a few things different about it. One of those things being that they have a modified tail.
Did that Chomp Kitty just hack a vending machine?
Glitches aren't supposed to be able to act outside their game program.
We get a bigger insight into their line of work. In addition to not being able to scan glitches outside of their database, deeming them to be illegal signatures, this is the first time they've seen a glitch modified only in a way that someone would have intended, via messing with the source code. It's then when we meet the first new character of Season 2, Ridley. Apparently she is behind the Rogue Kitty's new actions, and I love the way she's introduced, coming out of the shadows and emphasizing her mysterious nature. She'd remain this way throughout the episode, having a lot of what she'd do, inviting you to want to learn more about her. And the way that this scene presents itself accentuates those qualities. Also, just a seed planted for a future breakdown, but seeing where this episode went to have her wearing everything that she's wearing does look pretty weird, but would match her personality beautifully. Upon learning that she's watched, we get back into the action-packed moments with the high-speed chase. Although shorter than the initial action sequence, we get the return of Allie, the bird ally that they met in the episode Going Gauntlet from the prior season. Ridley has a trick up her sleeve, using her tech, the trap Ally, leading Fibes and presumably the viewers to think about why this young girl would have access to manipulate raw pixel data. Is she a glitch tech gone rogue? Did she find some tech and is going crazy with what little power she has? Is this a big test from Hinobi Tech to find out if they'd compromise on their job if they found someone who was on the inside? Before we get to answering those crazy questions, allow me to remind you that this is super Miko heavy. While Fibes is reserved by nature and would never jump off a platform into the water, Miko by nature of contrast does, and is rewarded with the A-plot.
This place is amazing! Did you make all of this? How long have you... Shh.
That bird construct you were writing is a chicky chum from the game Bravestone 12, yes or no?
Yes?
And this peripheral allows you to remotely interface with Hinobi console tech, yes or no?
Probably?
Oh, I knew it! You're a modder too!
I gotta say, Ridley may end up being my favorite character of the season. Mind you, I'm writing this after just seeing the first episode, and after seeing what happened in Infinity Train, I learned to not trust characters off the first appearance. But I enjoy the way her personality flip-flopped after the cold interrogation. She also assumes that Miko is a modder, which is interesting because it shows where her head is at. Miko being Miko doesn't initially question why she modded a Chomp Kitty. However, they'd go on to be on really good terms.
May I interest you in a tour?
Does a salamander love seaweed?
Only if it's raining. Miko?
Finally, someone who gets me! Yeah! Whoa!
On a positive note when it comes to Fives, we do get to see the rare Allie and Five dynamic. It's obviously not as interesting to talk about as Ridley and Miko, but it is something. Fives uses his tech to scan the illegal signature. Now, does that mean that it's now in a database, or is it local and you'd have to turn that into the Hinobi tech to become more refined? I'd imagine that if you have access to Men in Black-esque technology, that you would have access to cloud-based data. Fives also erroneously assumes that Ridley has access to powerful and dangerous tech, and plans to harm Miko, leading to this shot of a Miko robot. I gotta say, seeing that photo out of context can be pretty misleading given the fact that the #1 question going in is why Miko can't reset. I would be remiss if I didn't speak about the fact that this episode handles the topic of modding in a fantastic way. Yes, the show is about games, but it doesn't seem to lean in on that fact, and that's not a core aspect of any of the main or major characters' personalities. What makes this not a watered down cash grab attempt at gamers is the fact that games are treated as an activity, and not the core trait of the show, and something that they need to remind you of 24/7, unless you count the vocabulary they use, which is sometimes a little too much, but I understand why it's there. It's like what I said in my L is for Love review of The Loud House. When you treat something as if it wasn't the biggest deal and rather it's a core aspect about you, it's not abnormal, it's just something that happens, and it's just something that's completely okay. It won't appear as if you're trying to do something blatantly to appeal to someone who may share those qualities. Simply put, if it's normal, treat it like a normal thing. Yes, can gaming in the same way that bisexuality and L is for Love be a big part of someone? Of course! But imagine if glitch techs had to shove in every reference and make Miko the typical gamer girl and basically try to push the fact that this is all about gaming and they're just like you too, rather than having these characters have their own personality but all just be interested in video games as a segment of it. Then it would seem like the show is talking at you, not with you.
It's so nice to meet a fellow wizard. Most people at school think I'm weird, like that comp sci griefer Mike Sims. Mike Sims?
I don't know who this Mike Sims thinks he is, but I don't think you're weird at all.
I totally am. But I like being weird. Normal's boring and lame.
You're right. Who wants to be normal?
Not me. Weirdos for life! For life!
That's what separates this show from shows that try to be weird and never really capture an audience. Ridley's response to accepting the fact that she's weird, but there's no problem with that, and it being a passing comment that doesn't faze her as she's so interested in her own life and business, is something that I will always relate to. Sometimes just nonchalantly saying something works much better than making a big deal out of it. Also, as I've said in the previous video that I made on glitch techs, these graphics are amazing. I'm sure the genre lends itself to that, but they really spared no expense here. We get Fives reminding us that he's a part of the episode. Don't worry, Fives, I await your time in the spotlight, just like the other minor characters. And now Ridley. Speaking of, Ridley shows us that she not only hacked her console, the Hinobi console, she keeps all of her glitches in a hard drive, but also turns them into docile and in containment so that they can't escape and get away, which is why this Chomp Kitty didn't attack upon seeing Miko and Fives in the park. She plans to do this with Chomp 2.0, a not kitty who seems to not chomp and is rather a dragon that shoots fire and is from a pretty hardcore level. The implications here are so that it would be harder to mod the dragon because of how hard the level is, but I feel like it'd be harder to trust the dragon if it was capable of so much destruction regardless of level difficulty. Kind of a weird alley they went there.
But enough about me, Gildy. Tell me about you. How'd you get the Hinobi tech to make that gauntlet?
Well...
Do you actually work on the inside?
Ridley, you are so lucky your game system glitched in such a cool way. It's clearly allowed you to create some truly amazing stuff, but glitches can be really dangerous. I'm not a modder. I'm a glitch tech.
Like those guys at the Hinobi store?
Well, yeah.
She's shown to be very hesitant but loyal to her job. While Miko has made a friend that she can relate to and feels a genuine connection with, there's also her commitment to the team, who are here to collect all glitches, even if she were flying around a town on a massive dragon. Also, the fact that the public doesn't know about glitches just makes this even more of a reason to put a stop to this. If she were to show people that she can just take raw pixel data and convert it into their real world and have the ability to summon giant creatures that can wield wield massive destructive capabilities, that could be a real problem to anyone who would use that information for malicious purposes. However, the way Miko words it is as best as it possibly could be. It's the best possible solution. It's clear that Ridley enjoys her pets, like how Miko appreciates Allie. So seeing herself through Ridley, she recommends to Ridley to join her, rather than the other way around. The thing about Miko is she often thinks from her own perspective first. She generally doesn't think about others first, which is something that we saw in the beginning. So if she were to meet someone like herself, wouldn't that person do the exact same thing? Ridley does. To Ridley, she has nothing but her sprites, as she calls it, to take them all down, return them to a place that she knows nothing about, with people who can very well destroy what she's worked on, and convert her into what they think is the best for her. That doesn't sound all too well. Fives demands screen time and bursts into the scene, under the presumption that Miko is in danger.
You are going down, Glitch Master!
Five, what are you doing?
Freeing you from this villain's evil den of... Actually, this place is way cool! I was expecting you to be under attack by some kind of crazy glitch monster or something.
Yeah, they're really throwing my guy out here to dry. Not only does he get thrown under the bus for telling the truth, but he also takes the sacrifice shot. I know there's a number in his name, but I didn't think you'd actually want to portray him to be secondary. Also, the fact that the gauntlets would need to be compatible opens up a huge vulnerability that the show hasn't addressed. Forget modders, forget hackers. What if an independent game creator makes a game? Would they not be able to stop those glitches? Or does the Hinobi console double up as a monopolistic game database that has every game in it, except the work of rogue hackers and modders? There are so many questions I have about the show, and it's only episode 1 of season 2.
Hey, you two, give me those gauntlets.
Whoa, hang on! We're not giving you anything you...
Five, she's one of us. Kinda.
They're really dying on that Gamers Unite clause. I guess, like with the occasional vocabulary thrown around, I understand it. But Ridley is not like Fives, in the same way that Mitch was not like Miko in the first episode when they pulled this one of us sentiment. Out of nowhere, I might add. Speaking of vocab, they throw words around like pre-order and DLC, which is intentional. Unless I'm living under a rock and people use these words in their everyday conversation and don't work at GameStop. The fighting is exciting as usual, having fast and slower by comparison spots. But the part I have to highlight and praise is the callback to the first fight of the episode. When you watch this for the first time, they don't point out the fact that the monster had multiple weak spots, and you only needed to hit one to defeat it. But here, it returns, and at first I didn't catch it. This time with the modded code, multiple different weak spots needed to be hit for the monster to be defeated, which means that modders have a dangerous ability, and can be extremely dangerous towards glitch techs. In fact, having such a friendly encounter with someone who in theory could wield so much power and destruction that you possibly couldn't stop is a great spin on a topic. I also just love the squashing and stretching. It retains a lot of what I love about Fanboy and Chum Chum, another show that has this particular style, the very hyperactive style.
Just come to HQ with me. You could probably build all sorts of new stuff as a glitch tech. You'll just be weird with friends. Trust me, it's better.
Sorry, Miko, but you're wrong. You think you have friends now, but trust me, they won't stick around.
I didn't mention this before, but let's think about Ridley's concept of fun in a practical sense. So in the area that they're in, glitches are not a normal thing. That's why glitch techs erase the memories of those who end up seeing them or glitches. So her idea, in addition to the dragon, was to have these glitches around in plain sight, like a park, and just hope that no one ever sees them. Also, if you think about the fact that Fives tracked her down, that means that there is a physical place that can be used to get to where they're currently at. Granted, this wasn't a commonly seen place, but if she were to get caught by, let's say, a police officer, making a portal or leading people to the physical part of your location, those are both really bad options to someone who wants to keep low-key. She had short-term thinking all over her face. But that flaw is good, as perfect characters are boring. Some final thoughts: her co-workers at GlitchTex are kinda fake because they go quiet whenever Mitch is around. Nothing beats gaming and peer pressure, my favorite flavor. After giving Mitch the main character is quirky and will pressure them with their quirkiness by nature sort of aspect, the boss gives the best way to describe every time the word weird and the concept of weirdness came up here.
You're the weirdo.
We're all weirdos. Now get back to work.
Oh, and if you're wondering the fact that I see this show as weird and I have no problem with them bringing up this subject, but I did with the Owl House, it's because this show didn't have 3 shows before repeating the exact same starting premise. Anyway, I love GlitchTex. Share this video if you can, but share the series around. Post fan art, tag the creators, let them know what you think about the show. Use the hashtag stuff. The network wants to see that you guys love GlitchTex, so make it really clear that you do. With your help, Armada, we can hashtag save GlitchTex. Thank you for watching. Take care. Alpha out.